Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, bad news for people who love physical media. People who love these things, DVDs and Blu-rays, or at least rely on them. Disney has announced that after the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is released, they will no longer be releasing any physical media in Australia. No DVDs, no Blu-rays, no nothing. Now that includes Marvel and 20th Century Fox titles and things that obviously we've had access to for years and years and years. And I mean, why is this happening? The speculation, the assumption is, oh, well, they're just not selling, so they're ending it because no one wants them. That's not the case. In some countries, like Australia, we have a lot of rural areas, a lot of people who don't have access to good quality, fast internet, because that's what you need to watch things, especially to watch things in HD or 4K or stuff like that. There's huge problems with buffering and just access. So a lot of people are still buying Blu-rays and DVDs because, you know, that's just what they have to do. And I think Disney knows this, but they want these people to go to streaming. So they think if they just cut them off, they'll just go to Disney Plus. I'm like, well, no, they're not going because they don't want to or they can't. So these people will just be left without the content, the access to it that they had before. And it's just a bit offensive because it's not just people in rural areas, it's also collectors who don't want, and people who care about quality. They don't want compressed, video. They don't want things that have been edited from the original version, or they don't want old titles to just disappear, because when streaming first was announced, it was like, it's going to be a giant library in the sky for everyone. It's like, no, they're only going to keep stuff on the servers that gets the most views because it costs money. Now, some people have been mentioning things like the Apple Store and stuff like that, that they could just sell stuff online and sell digital downloads, which would mean people still have access without having to stream, because, okay, it may take forever to download something, but you still get it and can watch it properly. So that may be one thing, but Disney doesn't care so much, because they only care, as far as I can see, about Disney Plus doing well. And I think, like I said, they just assume if they cut people off DVDs and Blu-rays, they just automatically go to it. I think a lot of people haven't been going because they don't want to, or they don't have the access to the internet. There were still places selling and renting DVDs not that long ago, and it's just, the market isn't as dead as they're claiming. It's just, they just want to shift it, and it's not as easy as that for some people. A lot of collectors for a while have been buying titles that weren't available in Australia through eBay and Amazon and paying fortune in postage. And that's what's going to happen. People will just go from buying stuff in stores to having to buy it online. Now, Disney doesn't care, because they still get paid if their sales go up in other countries, because people are buying from countries they've stopped selling to directly. Then they still get the money. They don't care if it's costing you $20, $30 extra to get those titles from another country than from the local store. So it's a bit disrespectful. It's a lack of consideration, it's lack of caring, and just, they're just focused on what they want, which is they want Disney Plus to do well, and they don't care about what customers actually want or need. And because there's less people, obviously, in the outback and the rural areas that don't have access to good internet and fast internet, because they don't have towers, my God, this was a problem with cable as well. Like, we couldn't get cable in Tasmania, I remember. And I had some relatives who had problems getting it. They practically had to pay to have a tower put up so they could get cable. And even then, they couldn't get everything. They could still only get a couple of channels, or like the Tasmanian version of, it was just a mess. And then that sort of got shifted to online, which sort of helped in some ways because it was all for the phone lines. But then broadband, and now NBN, it's very complicated. A lot of people some people don't have NBN because you have to pay to have it put in, have the cables put in, because the government only put the wires into, like, the streets or the apartments and the apartment complexes, and individual people have to pay to actually have it put in. So it can cost a couple of $1,000s to get it from the street into your actual living room. So a lot of problems for people, and they don't care. They just assume those people will just go to Disney Plus, and some will, but some won't, because they care about quality, or they don't have the access that they need to actually have it, work and be viable. So I think it's just really inconsiderate and selfish of Disney, and I don't think it's going to help their sales really. There'll be a few people who are just used to getting DVDs and Blu-rays who will just subscribe because they don't care about what content stays on the thing or the quality and so forth. But others will just, miss out or have to pay a lot more to get it elsewhere. So not happy with Disney. And there's also a lot of elderly people who do still like entertainment, but they don't feel comfortable streaming. Those people will just end up missing out or just watching, old things. It's just, they just don't care about catering for everyone. Everyone should be catered to, not just the majority, but they're just going to focus on the majority and trying to get them to all, subscribe to Disney Plus, and that'll make Disney Plus look good, and that's all they care about. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks, and bye.